Oh, welcome back, folks. Welcome to part 2 of the tornado review. We're having a proper look at the sprues here. Just took a quick break there. Now then, I'm just getting my eyes around it. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? It's quite chunky. It's a bit flashy here in places, but there is a lot of fine detail. It looks a little bit like, some parts of it are starting to remind me of a Zokimura kit, this tornado. See what I mean about the flashiness? It's starting to become clearer when I zoom in. You can see it there. But you've got a lot of wiring, of course, on these undercarriage legs. Over here you've got, this is part of the dolly for the engine. Obviously you've got your rear sort of bulkhead that holds the engines. Here we've got the gloves for the wings, and they look quite good actually, in fairness. The way that they're moulded is really quite nice. Yeah, let's try and get that in a bit closer. Yeah, that's really good. Very fine moulding. There's some bits are very fine, and some bits are not so fine. Look at that. That's impressive. Okay. But two bits that are just separated from the sprue. Not quite as bad as we had with the clear parts. I'm not happy about the clear parts. I think I'll be taking that with the supplier and asking Italeri to replace that clear sprue, because £140, no, sorry, that's not good enough at all. Anyway, here's obviously we've got the intakes here for the engines, and there's a few ejector pin marks on the back. Now, not sure if they're going to be visible or not, depending on the angle. Maybe not. Maybe not, I hope not. Didn't really expect that. And again, we're talking about the price here, 140 quid. It's a lot of pennies. Don't want to see ejector pins on it, to be quite honest. Anyway, we'll put that one away and we'll move on. Didn't seem too bad. There's some nice detail and some quite sort of nice sculpturing of the parts. Quite good. I think overall, quite impressed with that. That one down there. Next one. Now we've got some real meaty parts now. Front of the aircraft. Just try and get this opened without making too much mess in the bag. Okay. I'm a bit nervous about losing any parts in case any have come loose, which isn't going to come out of the bag, which doesn't help. Got the nose off, the piece that's left the sprue, but it looks that looks quite nice, doesn't it? Actually, yeah. Oh yeah, look at that, the raised line there for the centre of the nose. That looks nice. Okay, put that over there. Right, we're out. What have we got? Let's go one at a time. We've got 3 there. Oops, careful. Now then. Wow. It's big, isn't it? It's big. Now I heard people complaining about I saw a review where somebody's complaining about the panel lines being a bit heavy. I think I can see what he means. It's a bit ironic actually, because if you think about it, in my review on the Tornado, the Revell at 1/32, I complained about how faint it all was, and it was too faint, and you're going to get problems when you paint it. If you use a primer and then you paint it and then you start putting washes on it, it was all going to fill in. Well, there's no danger of that here. It's fairly deep, I'd say. Yeah. It's not as fine as you get from someone like Great Wall Hobby, for example. They get the balance about right, usually, I think. And here we've got, ooh, yeah, okay, so this is the cockpit tub. And as I suspected from the instructions, it's moulded in one, and it's all just, yeah, it doesn't give you much leeway, does it, for actually, if there were some aftermarket options coming up, which I think there probably will be, you've got a lot of work to do then to remove all this. It would have been nicer if that had been separate pieces that go on the top, you know, and you build it up with some multiple panels. That would have been good. These look good though. These central instruments for the pilot, and again here. Oh yeah, that looks cool. That's nice. Some good detail, and I think this is the thrust reverser mechanism here. Here, check this out. Some really good moulding there. That's some little gears on the end. That's very finely done. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, that's good. And we've got that's the closed position, I think. Yeah, closed position, and then we've got open position. Wow, that's cool. And then over here we've got the this optional the probe for the refueling probe here. A little bit of flash here and there, isn't there? I don't know if you can see that. Try and get you in a bit better. A bit flashy. You see it? Yeah. It's a bit mixed really. It's not a lot of flash, but here and there it just pops up, and yeah, again here. Here, where my finger is. There. See it? Yeah, that's a bit flashy. So, bit of a mixed picture there. Okay, we'll pop that one to the side. Then we've got a smaller, well, say smaller sprue. It's not. It's kind of a strange sprue. It's almost like an L shape for some reason. So this has got the engines on it. I'll just bring you back. Engines. Try to get this in if I can. Yeah, there we go. I'm struggling. There we go. Again, it's all sort of moulded in one, isn't it? It's nicely figured though, you know, it looks nice. And then you've got your jet pipes, yeah, afterburner flame ring. Looks okay. That's nicely detailed. A little bit flashy here and there again, a little bit of flash just popping up here and there. Some nice figuring. Yeah, it's just that you seem to get the detail and then you get the flash as the downside to it really. Let's bring you out a bit. And we've got the massive Hindenburg tanks, they're huge. Really, really big. And then you've got your pylons here. Yep, it's a really chunky old pylon, isn't it? Ejection seats, they look quite nice. Can't complain there, there's some good detail in there. Yeah. Yeah, some fine detail. There's some nice parts. And, you know, some quite intricate parts as well. But you just see that every time they get a bit of every time they get a part that's trying to get you in here, hang on a second. Yeah, like this one. Every time they get a part that's got like wiring or trunking, it seems to get a lot of flash alongside it, unfortunately. Might need a little bit of work. And then the other piece is exactly the same. There's a complete duplication of this. So there's two sprues that are literally identical there. So yeah, we'll put them onto each other and we'll pop this one away. Over here. Next. This is a long review. Not a very chatty review because I'm trying to take it in as you are. I'm seeing it exactly as you are seeing it, and we have another bag to open. And this is the one that's got some big pieces of the fuselage. Let me just get into it. There we go. Whoops. So, wow, it's a massive piece here. Look at the size of this. It's huge. Big parts, yeah. Big parts. Jeez. Nicely, this looks nice. This is nicely, doesn't look as overly chunky as the nose did, in fairness. In terms of the panel line detail, looks, I don't know, about right really. Seems a bit less extreme. We've got here some rubber parts. This is the gloves and the tyres. Yeah, okay, I can see that I was right, the tyres do have some embossing on them, the manufacturer's details. There we go. Does it say? Radial. Doesn't say who the manufacturer is, it just says radial. Okay. Okay. And the wing glove, which you can cut if you wish to have it retracted. That may be quite. I'm a bit worried about how you glue it and how it's going to glue, but I think apart from that, it's quite a good idea. Then we've got the thrust reversers here. Thrust reversers. Yep. Reverser buckets. We've got the gear bay doors and the inner doors and the gear bay itself, I think, here. There. And then we've got the side. This is the side, and the wings will be here. Here. That looks quite good. So quite nice. Quite nice. It's just got a bag of its own, that one, for some reason. It's not been buddying up with anything else. Don't know why they did it. One had 3 in it and one's got 1 in it. It's kind of strange. It seems to be a bit random the way they've chosen how to do the sprues, but pop that in there. I think 2 of those can go in that one. Continue. It's a piece of plastic here. I hope it's not anything vital. I think that could go over there without too much trouble. We'll just encourage it a bit. Just talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back in a second. But this is it's a bit tricky. We've got to be a bit careful. There we go. I think we're on. Got it over now. Come on! This is making entertaining TV, isn't it? I'm sure. Not. That would have been helpful if Italeri had actually provided slightly bigger bags. The bags are actually quite tightly. I'll give you something to look at so you're not going to get too bored. It's quite tightly packed, the bags. Shrink wrapped almost, you know. A bit too tight for my liking, if I'm honest. It's certainly tight, isn't it? Right. Well, best I can do on that one. Right, now then, what have we got here? Weapons. Come back to them in a minute, I think. I think we'll get into the... They really are a tightly packed bag. I'm not exaggerating. Look at this. I mean, it's right to the edge. They're really skimping, aren't they? Don't want to spend any money on bags, obviously. Waste not, want not. make the bag as tightly packed as we can. Go. Right. The fin. The size of the fin. God, it's enormous. That looks really nice. So do the tailplanes actually. They're you've got strengthening plates. That looks very, very well done. Yeah. And you've got these blast deflectors for the thrust reversers that are on the tail. Look at this. That's beautiful. That looks quite good, in fairness. And then we've got a rudder here. And spin it around the other way. And we've got, looks like the front nose gear leg. And then, oh yeah, you can see these jack screws I was talking about. You can see them quite well here actually. Look at this. This is the front flaps. Jack screws that wind and pull it in and out. And yeah, mine's got a sink mark in it like somebody else mentioned. Yes, you can see that. Whether it'll show up, might be alright when it's painted. It might not show. I don't know, it's quite mild. Not sure if that's coming through really on the vid. Can you see that? Maybe it has to get it the light at an angle for it to be visible. Looks okay. That's quite a nice sprue actually. That. And it's got these like here they've got these little veins for the tailplanes. Cool. It's good. Go back in its bag. Very tight bag indeed. Well, that's so mean with the bags. That barely goes back in the bag, it's that tight. Okay, I'll leave it till later, I don't want to bore you too much. So, this is the last sprue then. The last sprue. There we go. Whoops. Now then, we've got two sprues that are little bits off the sprue. Here we go. What's that from? I think that's off this one somehow. I've got a hunch that it's off there. Yes, it is. I'll come back to that in a second. Two sprues that are identical for the weapons. So let's just look at this one. Okay. Well, we've got one or two of these that are clearly not for the GR4. I think that's some German stuff going on there. Not one of ours, I'm sure. But where these are here. We've got the Boz pod, it's a countermeasures pod, and then we've got Sky Shadow, which again is a kind of countermeasures pod. It's a jamming pod, and then we've got obviously the Paveway GBUs, laser guided bombs. Here, and we've got Sidewinder here. I think someone else mentioned about some of the scaling of some of this stuff, like the little rings here. Yeah, they are a bit extreme, aren't they? I don't know. Not sure how extreme that is, whether it's too much or not. Maybe when you painted it, it won't look so bad. There's quite a few items on that sprue that are not going to be used, I think, because there are definitely other variants for Germany, etc. Certainly this top stuff here. So there's two of those identical. So leave that to one side, and then finally the wing sprue. And that does look nice actually. That does look nice. Again, it doesn't look as extreme as the nose. The panel lining, it looks okay. You've got all your little ailerons and then you've got your intakes here. That looks pretty nice, in fairness, pretty nice. And you obviously got spoilerons here for the top of the wing. Spoilerons. You've got your intakes there, and again the flaps, and slats at the front, flaps at the back. Spoilerons on the top down here, and then smooth underneath. Looks great, and that's the flap. Yeah, that's all the flaps here. That looks grand. Interesting. So. What do we make of that then? Let's zoom you back out, and I shall give you my thoughts. I'm going to have a little swig of beer because I think I deserve it. And I'm going to move you back over there. You can bear with me just a moment. I'll bring down one of the sprues from earlier. Let's get you back up here. Okay. Just bear with me one moment. I'll bring you back to the land of the living. Drop you down, more to the point. I've got the camera very, very high. There we go. So, now then, what do I think of it? Well, I think my views are fairly predictable. To be fair, one or two parts of it remind me of Zokimura, one or two parts remind me a little bit of Tamiya, and quite a lot of it reminds me of Revel, and that's not a compliment. It's quite a mixed bag. I mean, I don't know why they had so many ejector pins in the intakes trunking. It seems really weird because there's on other parts they've gone. I don't know where it is now, but there's some other parts I saw where they've gone and put all these ejector pin lugs on that you have to cut off to avoid having ejector pins on the part. So it's not strictly speaking necessary for them to have so many of these ejector pins, especially somewhere that has the potential at least to be seen. So not too sure about that. I'm obviously not very pleased with my particular one. This is the second time I've actually unboxed a model. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that, sorry, that's not what I was trying to do. I'm trying to bring you up a bit. It's the second time that I've unboxed the model live, and then I found that there's broken parts in it, and actually the parts are not broken, I don't be too harsh on them, but they're broken off the sprue, and they really shouldn't have been. I'm baffled why that would be. It seems a bit much when you've paid the sort of money that this has cost to have broken bits, to be honest. So let's just pop that back on there. So I've got some major rebagging to do, and the bags are tight, you know. You can't get the sprues back in the bags. Anyway, sorry if I was a bit rambling on this one, but there's so many parts to look at and so much to see and to try and take in. I think it's a nice kit. I think it's way better. It does look way better than the Revell. There's a lot more detail, in fairness, and there's a lot more fine figuring, and it's much more sharply moulded than the Revell. But it needs to be, and I just don't think. I said at the beginning, it's not worth £140. That's absolutely ridiculous what they've done there. What they should have done, I think in summary, having seen it, putting aside the clear parts, which is something to do with the way it's been transported, I think. I reckon that should be about £95. I think £90 to £95 is the right price for the kit. It's trying to be Tamiya, and it's nowhere near Tamiya. It's just not. I don't know what it's going to go together like. That's the real acid test. That worries me a little bit. But I mentioned Spencer Pollard. I'd seen him talking online live a few days ago, and he was saying it went together really nicely. So that's quite encouraging to hear someone of his experience say that. I think he also mentioned that they had used a little bit of filler, which worries me. But anyway, that's remains to be seen. But based on the inbox review, another part that was off the sprue. Based on the inbox review, I do like it. I think it's a nice kit. I think if you want a big tornado it's a no-brainer. I would just say to you, shop around. I think you can get this now. I said £109. I think this morning I checked, that was the lowest price, which is £30 lower than it was what I paid. I paid full RRP on this, which is why I'm not going to be very forgiving about the parts that are all broken off the sprue in such a bad way, especially when they're clear parts, because they've got scratched as a result of it. So yeah, I'll be getting that sorted out. But yes, I think it's a very imposing kit. I think it will build. I think it will look great when it's finished. You know, paint it with a nice scheme. I do suspect it's going to look really quite imposing, and it'll look totally superior to what Revell did. So yeah, I think I'm going to give my summary now in two ways. I'm going to tell you what I think of it at £140 out of 10, and what I think of it at £95, which is what I think it should be retailing at. So I think at £95, I think I'd give it a sort of 8.5, 9 out of 10. £140, 6.5. It's just stupid. Sorry, don't know what they were thinking of. They're straight into Tamiya territory, and they're not offering that level of quality. You know, it's not that perfectly figured, but it's very, very good, and it's certainly superior to anything else on the market. You know, the old Revell kit. I mean, it's 30 years old, pretty much. 35 years old, in fact. So you'd expect this to be good, you know, and it is good. I think it is good. It makes me want to build it, and that's always a good sign, so I'm not going to be too harsh. Just don't pay full price for it, is my advice. Shop around, wait for the January sales, they'll be down to £100. At £100, yeah, okay, you know, but above that, no, not really. No, too much money, being a bit silly. Well, there we are. Anyway, that's my opinion. I'm sure other people see things that I've missed. I'm not an expert on the aircraft itself, so there's probably how accurate it is, I'm not sure. But I'm really comparing it with the Revell, and it's totally superior. You've got all these things. You've got the flaps and the slats open, and you've got your air brakes and your nose, you know, and the various doors and the thrust reversers, and that gives it a massive additional animation that doesn't come with the Revell kit, where everything's just closed and it's shut and it's like a 70-second scale that's been made massive. This does have that functionality and that multimedia feel to it that kits, you know, around £100 ish would have, and that's great. And so I think Italeri, yes, hats off to you for doing it. You just got the price totally wrong. Okay, so just stop being silly, get your price back to £100 where it should be, and it's great kit. £100 or less, great kit. So there you go. So it's 6.5 out of 10 at £140 and about 8.5 at £100. That's my view. Anyway, sorry to go on. I know it was a bit long and a bit hard going, but I've got to be careful when I'm opening it, and getting them back in the bags was a nightmare, so that's why I stopped doing it, really. Hope you found it interesting then. I hope you got to see the detail. I tried to take my time, because I know other modelers will want to see the detail and really think, do I want to spend this money? And that's why I did this in a bit more of an intense way, to show you what it's really like. And I hope you saw a lot of information that will help you make your mind up and yeah, make your own decisions, really. But yeah, okay, so it's quite an impressive aeroplane, obviously. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the review, found it interesting and helpful. I'm sure in the near future we've got other things coming. New Year, anyway, Christmas, New Year. We've got the Airfix ones, haven't we? We've got the new Buccaneer coming out. I'm supposed to have the Vulcan coming next year, hopefully sometime. They're not too distant. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, found it helpful, please like, share, subscribe. And in the meantime, until I see you next time, thanks a lot. Bye for now. Cheers.